It's a very nice sunny day, so we decided to take advantage of this, and we left our modest little trailer house, which we keep over at the coast, and decided to go down to Cape Lookout and check on things down there. This place has always been very special to me since I worked there for nearly 10 years. We take the windy little road over Cape Lookout, and from our place it's about 9 miles to Cape Lookout Park. But oh, what a special drive it is. We get down a ways on the other side, although it's pretty well grown up. We can get a look at Neathart Sand Spit. And then the sign to Cape Lookout Park. We'll take a left off the road we're going on and go right up into Cape Lookout Park. We drive right up the narrow little corridor with trees on both sides of us, and we'll come to the junction where you go either to the picnic area or to the park. So we're going down to the picnic area, park, and go to the beach. A few people are coming out over to the camp area. There's a registration for the overnight camp area. We go a little farther and we're to the beach parking area. We can hear the ocean roar as we go up by their enclosed picnic shelter. There still are a few people around since it's a nice day, but not nearly the masses there would be in the summer. We park and walk down toward the picnic shelter. This was built while I was here, but I didn't get a chance to work on it very much since it was in summer when I was dealing with people. We take the short path down to the beach, and now we'll walk in the dry sand. Since the tide is out a little ways, it'll be good walking right on the sand of the beach. I take a look at what the erosion has done with between the building, the jetty, and the rising sea levels. Erosion has taken a big toll on the beach. It's said that building the jetty changed the sea currents, so it's eroding out like we've never seen before. It's very interesting to me to see what's down below the sand, where we never got to see when I worked here. It's eroded this bank away considerably, and it's a clay with lots of rocks in it and even some fossilized wood in it, although it's not fossilized yet, but they call it that since it's very old. The thing I'm particularly interested in is the works of man here, and so I'm looking to see if there's any sign of early man here, and I did find some, but not in the lower levels like this, on the upper levels with only a little bit of dirt on top of them. Some of the tree roots have gone down a long ways, and then we see some ancient trees. This was probably part of a big landslide that happened here in prehistorical time. There are even different colors to the clay, indicating it happened at different periods of time. And then we see the ancient wood that's like 20 feet down in this bank, so it was laid down a long time ago. The modern erosion has made a big difference here, and here's a cave that I've never seen before that's eroded out of the mud bank. some people have gone in here and built them a fire. I guess maybe they had a little party in protection of the cave. It would worry me a little bit. You never know when another big chunk's gonna fall off there. We look out to sea and see the sturdy basalt rock of Cape Lookout, and also out at sea, just a little ways out there, you can hardly see it due to the haze, is Steamboat Rock, still standing tall out at sea. The basalt like that doesn't erode away very much at a time, so it's probably safe for quite a long time. Since we've walked down as far as we can go, now we're going to walk back up to where our vehicle is, and so we're going to walk up the wet sand and just see what the tide's bringing in. It's brought in a lot of old jellyfish right here on the sands of the beach, as well as some mussel shells. There used to be a cannery here that canned clams and mussels, although it's eroded away where it was. Then we look up on the bank, and here's a whole bunch of mussel shells and clam shells and other marine shells laying in a pile up on top of the hill. We can see where they're eroding out of the bank. Just a small ridge of them lay there, and then they tumble down to the beach. And down on the beach I look and I see a blackened rock. That may be one they used for their fire rocks. So we're down with the beach now, and we're returning to the parking lot to get in our pickup and go on to our next adventure. And our next adventure will be a trip down to Short Sands Beach on Oswald West State. This has always been one of my favorite hikes. It's at least a quarter of a mile long, and you wander through some old growth timber. You cross under the bridge that goes for 101 along Short Sands Creek. Then we go down and follow the trail, a very good trail down to the beach, and we can already hear the ocean roaring down below. We can see evidence of a rainforest immediately here. Giant old trees standing tall right alongside the trail and the creek. These old spruce and cedar that are growing so big along here don't have to have very deep roots because they've got plenty of moisture.
These roots. Wow.
This old tree's growing out of an old ancient stump, and it's a hemlock tree.
Goodness gracious. You can see all around up here. Wow. There's a big drop off down that tree.
There's an old western red cedar. Looks like it might be dead. Just other things growing on it. A whole bunch of conchs growing on a log. another tree that a seed has fallen down and taken root on an old snag, and so it grew up high like that. And then the roots had to reach down and touch the ground. And the creek is rushing its way to the sea, and it doesn't have far to go. Another tree decided to grow in an old snag, and you can crawl right through the roots in it.
And I can walk right through that.
Well, yeah, it's grabbing right hold of that tree, and it's on an old stump that's been sawed off. And here's a root that grew up and came clear over this old sawed off stump. More old mother stumps with trees coming out of them. Looks like the big old root ball right here of maybe an old spruce. Yeah, there it grows, and it's got all kinds of trees coming up on it.
Look at it. Unbelievable.
Yep.
That is a big tree.
Probably started growing on an old mother tree that's rotted clear away. Now that old stump's been cut off with a saw, so that's during the historical times.
Huh? Look at, it's got an eyeball.
Yeah,
Look at its nose.
that's just the big old roots of a
Big old root.
giant old tree. And it's hosting numerous smaller hemlock and other things. I remember the time when this used to be an overnight campground, and the Parks Department even furnished you a wheelbarrow to wheel your stuff down to the beach, but as near as I know, you can't camp down here anymore. Where the springboard was put on that tree to stand on while they were sawing it down with an old handsaw, probably. Then we get to a point where we're right on the edge of the beach, and we can look over and see that great pretty ocean and hear it. They even have a restroom down here if you get down here and need to go to the bathroom. We can walk down the trail, and there are picnic tables here for those who have packed a picnic down here to have a nice picnic overlooking the ocean. We're gonna head down here and take the little trail right down to the beach, just a little cut where you can go down to the beach right off this picnic type area here. This area used to be a favorite hangout of young people and teens back in the mountain right here is called Neocony Mountain, and supposedly there's a cave out there. The surf's too high right now, but there's a cave that's got some teak wood wreckage in it that supposedly is from one of the treasure ships of the old Spanish Main. Sticking out there is Cape Falcon. Looks like there's still a fishing boat anchored out here in the cove. They pull in there sometimes at night and anchor. Sometimes they aren't fishing boats at all. This is a sailboat. Be interesting to see where some of these logs come from. There may be someplace some wreckage of an old wooden ship. This cove was called Smuggler's Cove because during the Prohibition days, the smugglers would bring boatloads of alcohol in here and offload it right here on this beach. Now the main thing the beach is used for, it's used by thousands of surfers. It's got to be a very popular place to go surfing. And I see some out there right now, making their way out through the waves, hoping to get that special ride. Looks to me like it's not an easy sport at all. Looks like that ocean could beat you up, but good. But it's still a very popular thing right here, and there are a lot of people out there today. I asked one of the guys that was out there how the surfing was that day, and he said, I'm from Florida, and I don't really know about it here. And I thought it was pretty good, he said. The secret to it in these ice-cold waters is that wetsuit, that still your face and other parts are exposed to that ice-cold water. boy, that surf has no mercy on it. It was really great seeing those surfers go out there and with that cool, ice cold green water breaking right in your face. That looks like a job for the hardy only. We look out over the ocean and see a long ways from the top of Neahkahnie Mountain here, and right here, supposedly down below us, is where that ship, treasure ship from the Spanish Main, wrecked, and it's inspired a lot of people to go digging for the treasure, which by the way has never been found, but millions have been lost trying to find it, plus a few lives. This is a very special place up on top Neahkahnie Mountain. The road is very interesting here. It's got the rock walls, which was typical of the Civilian Conservation Corps, and turnouts with rock walls on it. And so there's been a lot of work done on this road. Every time we come along here, we look in these pullouts where you can pull out and park and get out of your vehicle and take pictures. And there's always people from everywhere out here taking pictures. We're just going to take our time and mosey over Neahkahnie Mountain here, and then our next stop will be the fishing port of Garibaldi on Tillamook Bay. Go down to Fisherman's Wharf and just look around here. There's a few places you can get you a little something to eat. So we chose to get the fish and chips at a little restaurant down here right on the edge of the boat basin. There are big boats and little boats all tied up here in the port of Garibaldi. There's a fair amount of charter boats tied up here as well to the docks, and so we're going to walk down along the docks. We've been here numerous times before throughout the last years. We started going here maybe in the late 1960s, and so we've seen a few changes, but not really that dramatic. Tillamook Bar, it has a reputation out at sea of being a rather difficult bar to cross, so maybe there would be a lot more if it were better, but it's better than it used to be since they built the jetties, and there's quite a fishing industry here. They're all tied up to the docks here, and there are fish processing and fish selling places here all over the area. We're going to walk down and see what's going on here on the docks. boats of all sizes and shapes here. Some of them you just go out in one day, the commercial boats, and come in that night, and others you stay out there for sometimes about 10 days and just anchor at night out on the ocean. And some of them go for salmon, and some of them are drag seiners, and there's some of them when the tuna are in, they go out and bring in catches of tuna, and wow, what a rugged life. As we leave, we see a solemn reminder standing skyward right in front of us as we head out of town. This is a smokestack from the big sawmills. There used to be several big sawmills here, and they'd pull the logs in rafts. But after the big Tillamook burn, the bay sealed it in where they could no longer do this.